Okay, now this is part three. This is, I think, the last part. We have one enemy, but really, for a complicated game, we may want to do more than one enemy per level. Okay? And so, what we'll do is just like we have platforms where there's a list of platforms, we're going to make a list of enemies. Okay? So, this is an advanced feature. Let's say we're going to go underneath, we're going to go let enemies, right? So, we will have a list of enemies. So just like in the set level function, I make a list of enemies. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to copy it down. Okay. I'm going to change it to enemies. And then I'm going to push the enemy that we make. Okay. So that's the format. We are going to push the enemy that we make onto enemy. Okay. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to get rid of this original enemy because we don't want to have one global enemy. We want to have a local enemy that we make and then we add it to the list. And that's going to cause a whole bunch of errors, so we're going to have to work through it. So we're going to get rid of it. We now have a list of enemies. This is our first enemy, right? Actually, that enemy was created for level one. So let's go here and let's go to level one. In level one, we make an enemy. Let's do this. And now these are the rate variables 320 and 280. So 320 and 280, 320 and 380. Okay, so that's fine. So we're going to say is make an enemy called let enemy, and we're going to add it to the list. And every level we should get rid of the list. Okay, so what does this look like? In level 1, we empty the enemy list. We create however many enemies we want, and we add it to the list. Should work. Okay. The only problem is we still have errors because our draw code talks about one enemy, right? So it's just like we do with the platform. We need a for loop to go through all the enemies and pull it out. Okay, so we're going to copy this. This for loop goes from 0 to however many platforms there are, and it pulls each platform out and calls it P. So we can do the same thing right before our enemy code. We're going to go like that. Notice this is the start of the for loop. We need to end the for loop, and we're going to end the for loop right when we're done dealing with the enemies. So look at this. We have a for loop that goes from 0 to however many enemies there are. Okay? For every enemy, it makes an enemy and pulls it out of the list. Okay, so for every enemy in the list, it makes an enemy and pulls it out of the list, and then it does the same code. Getting close to where I don't expect an error. Enemy.push is not a function. That is a bug that I've done. 212. It's not enemy.push. The list is called enemies. Okay, and this is in level 2. Okay, we're getting closer. Reference enemy is not defined. It's because I deleted it. Now you might say, why'd you delete it? It's going to cause all this errors. Well, because I need to see the errors. This is where I collide with the enemy. This was written when there was only one enemy. And so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to put it in the for loop. Okay, so that's the start of the for loop. That's the full of the for loop. Okay, because the for loop treats every enemy. So that looks right. For every enemy, move the enemy, bounce the enemy, draw the enemy, and ask, does the hero hit the enemy? Let's see if it works. Okay, kind of works. The only thing is, Mr. Russo, can we have 2 enemies? Well, let's see. Let's go to level 1. Notice we make an enemy and we add it to the list. Let's clean this up so it looks nice. Okay? Empty the list, make an enemy, add it to the list. Well, if I want a second enemy, I should just be able to copy it. I don't need the let. So let's go make a second enemy. Okay? I can't do let twice because it already exists. So the second time we delete that, and I'm just going to move it back a little bit, like just back a little bit. Oh yeah, let's go 260. Okay, and now I have 2 enemies. Okay, and what I could do is notice my. I also want them to be offset. Why not? Why not offset them? Yeah, so that it starts. The second enemy starts at a different spot, so it's kind of like, whew, yeah, that's pretty tough. Okay, so I've got a list of enemies. Wow, I think we're done. Yeah. Now level 2, I hadn't done right because I basically have to copy the same code. So what happens? I create an enemy, or I empty the list of enemies, create an enemy, add it to the list. So in level 2, I'm gonna do the same thing. And I can create as many enemies as I want now. So let's review this. Okay, so this is a core part of for loops. I deleted my single enemy because I no longer want to refer as if there's one enemy. There is instead a list of enemies, and that is called enemies. I deleted the setup in setup because enemies are really bound to the level. So instead, I moved that code to set level. And what do I do in level 1? I empty the enemy list. I create a single enemy and I add it to the list. And then I just do that again forever. If I want 10 enemies, I can put 10 enemies. And most importantly, in my draw function, let's go to my draw function, when I would refer to a single enemy, I instead have a for loop that goes from 0 to the end of the enemies list. It pulls each one out, and it does the same code. And so anything that talks about an enemy should be in between this for loop. And if I want, if you do this, you'll probably have a little bit of bracket here. So, it takes some time to actually clean up your code. This is end of the enemy for loop, right? I like my brackets like this. So I go in here, anything in here is inside the collision with the enemy. Enemy collision. Actually, I noticed an error right here. Not an error, actually. It's not a real big problem. But notice this loop is happening over and over again. If there's 2 enemies, it happens twice. If there's 10 enemies, it happens 10 times. Well, I'm checking the door right here. Well, the door has nothing to do with the enemy, so I can actually, my code will be a little bit more efficient if I move it outside of the loop. Doesn't really change anything because you can check the door 10 times, but it just makes more sense. So inside the for loop, I should be doing anything that deals with the enemy. So what is inside the for loop? For, we have a counter that starts at 0, and it goes until the end of the enemy. We pull the enemy out of the list. We move the enemy according to these rules, same rules as before. We draw each enemy. And if the hero hits that enemy, we reset the game, and then we loop again, and we go back up to here. And that's how you would turn one enemy into many enemies.